it didn't matter. They blew out the Sixers in Game 1, led by Terry Rozier's 29 points. Jason Tatum added 28, and Al Horford added 26. After the game, Joel Embiid said, quote, "We were all bad tonight." Shannon, how much trouble are the Sixers in?
The Sixers are not in any trouble. All the Celtics did was protect home court. They're the number 2 seed. They're the higher seeded team, so they have home court. Skip Bayless tells me a series doesn't start until the visiting team wins on the home team's court.
Only because I've been told that for 40 years, but go ahead.
I mean, that happened in Game 1 of the last series, or somebody else we know, but it didn't mean anything. But you know, Joe, I don't even know why.
It did mean Game 7.
I don't even know why I brought that up, Joey.
It did not mean 7 games?
It could have been. It should have ended. If you taking care of business at home. But we're talking about the Sixers and the Celtics.
You're talking about the series.
I'm talking about Sixers and Celtics.
Turn on that uncalled goaltend, but go ahead.
Sixers and Celtics.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The Sixers are a top 5 defensive team. But let me tell you what. If you let a team shoot 48% from the floor and 49% from 3, and you let 3 players have in the high 20s, you're going to lose every time. And Sixers shoot the 3. Because they rebuilt their team. They shoot a bunch of 3s. But you see what happens? Covington goes over, and Bellinelli doesn't do what he normally does.
Didn't do it.
Ilyasova doesn't do what he normally does. And
you just named 3 people who didn't make a single 3.
But it would have been worse than this had they not had Joel Embiid. Because when you're not making 3s, guess what you can do when you got that guy? You can put his butt down on the block, dump it down to him, and they got no answer for it. But the Sixers were making 3. Those are some things you can adjust to. How about contest some of those 3s? Al Horford was drafted by the Hawks. I lived in Atlanta. I followed Al Horford's career. This is the best I've seen Al Horford play in his career. They're running the offense through him. The high pick and roll, the pick and pop. I mean, Joel Embiid is like you can't. You know, if you put him on, if you put Embiid on Horford, all he's gonna do is play outside. So now you got no rim protection. So if you put it now, Aaron Baines making 3s. I believe the Celtics will cool off from the.
He did.
He did. I believe the Celtics will cool off from the 3. I also believe that the Sixers will do a better job of defending the 3. Let's see. Because the Celtics were in a rhythm. Skip, they had just played Saturday. So they're still in the rhythm.
I agree.
And the Sixers had been off for almost a week. So we'll see a little bit more. We'll see, get a true sense of who these 2 teams are. The next game they play, Game 2, I believe will be different.
I hope you're right, because we both picked the Sixers to win in 6 games, correct?
Yep.
And so that would mean in Game 2, the Sixers would probably better win Game 2.
Yeah, because you're probably not going to sweep
You're probably not going to win 4 straight games. So, late last night, I agreed with everything you just said. And I went to bed thinking, they got this. Okay, so they got punched in the mouth by a team that just fought its way through a 7-game series against Milwaukee. And they were kind of on fumes and feeding off the momentum of the Milwaukee series. And they came out crazy hot and hit 17 threes to only 5 for a team that's been torching people from 3. 17 to 5, that means 12 times 3 is 30. You're plus 36 points from the 3-point line at home. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, the visiting team's going to lose. That's what's going to happen.
They'll lose by a lot. And again, the Sixers went into last night a 3.5-point favorite, and it got by game time bet all the way up to 5. So the betting public was in our corner saying they got this. And already they have been established as a 3.5-point favorite, the Sixers have, at Boston in Game 2. So I'm thinking it's going to be just fine. This is just what the doctor, as in Dr. J, ordered. You get punched in the mouth in Game 1. They got punched in the mouth in Game 2 by your Heat. And it was good for them because they said, okay, let's wake up. This is different. This is playoff basketball. And let's lock it back in.
Right.
And Ben Simmons, especially in Game 3, locked it back in. And Embiid came back and came back with a vengeance. But then I woke up this morning, and I got to tell you, I believe the Celtics are as scary as Terry is, as in Terry Rozier. Have you been checking him out?
He's unbelievable.
I mean, what is going on with these Louisville players, these Rick Pitino products? Okay, we have Donovan Mitchell in Utah, and we have Terry Rozier in Boston. And when they were playing for Rick Pitino, I watched them, but they never leaped out of my screen, right?
No.
And you start thinking, is Pitino sort of Belichickian? You know, he's sort of keeping them under wraps, you know, where you got to run my system my way, and they kind of get lost in the system, as they used to say about Michael Jordan.
Right.
Only Dean Smith could stop Michael Jordan because he was his coach, right, when he was in college.
20 points.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, every game I watch Terry Rozier, I'm saying, wait a second, does he not look like a star? And I did tweet this at the end of the game. Terry Rozier is no more of a backup than Nick Foles was. And that is the God's truth. Nick Foles was not a backup. He had started games. He had played at a high level. I'm going to remind you, Terry Rozier was the 16th overall pick in the first round of the draft. Now, that's just out of the lottery. Right. But it's still, you're a mid-first round pick. So you're not bad to start with.
If he's going back to the bench when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward come.
I got that. But the scary thing about last night is, you're down 2 All-Stars, Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, and you're down another potential future All-Star in Jaylen Brown, who's sitting over there with a bad hamstring, although he probably could have played if forced to. So you're down, arguably, going into the game, you could argue you're down your best 3 players at the start of the year. Am I right? And you do that to them? While Joel Embiid is going for 31 and 13, so what if he wasn't a monster last night? What would the score have been?
They'd got blown out.
I mean, like by 40, it would have been like the Memorial Day massacre between the Celtics and the Lakers.
I remember that.
Right?
What 148, 114?
I think it was. Yeah, but it would have felt like that if he doesn't go for 31 and 13 and at least control some of the tempo.
Danny Ainge is like, go ahead and show them what you can do, Rozier. Because we're gonna trade you for Kawhi.
You think so?
No, yeah. It's because they got too much talent. You think Rozier going to be happy to go back to the bench after doing what he's doing in the playoffs?
But he looks for real to me. I got to tell you, just the way he moves, the confidence he goes up for those threes.
Yeah.
I mean, he made 7 out of 9. Is it going to happen every night? I don't think so, but.
And Al Horford, 10 or 12.
Okay, but I'm going to remind you about the guy you watched in Atlanta.
Okay.
You realize he's made 5 All-Star teams?
Yeah.
Al Horford?
Yeah.
He's made 5 All-Star teams. And if this is his best year, then we have a 5-time All-Star playing at his best. Then that's pretty good.
He's playing at what they hoped in Atlanta he would do all along. They tried for so long to build a team around him, Skip, but the problem was they didn't have the right pieces. Joe Johnson is an ISO player.
Okay.
This team is ball movement. So you can run your offense through Al. He can pick and pop. He can pass the ball tremendously out of the high post, but that's not what Joe Johnson does. You also had Josh Smith, who needed to dominate the ball. So basically, you had a bunch of guys that needed the ball. Al Horford doesn't need the ball. He can get rebound, but he can run your offense. So he really didn't fit for what they were trying to do, although they were trying to make him the focal piece of the offense. But if you look at him, the way he did in Milwaukee, Skip, if you look at the way he's playing now, I've never seen Al Horford play like this. And I know he's a 5-time All-Star. He one year they had, 60 wins. You know, Bron swept them, but that's neither here nor there. They did have those 60 wins. Al Horford, 4 All-Stars. Bron, they swept them. But that's, you know.
Have you been checking out one Jason Tatum, who is looking like he's made a case for ROY, as in Roy, who was on the floor last night, your guy named Roy, for the other team.
Yeah,
Roy Simmons, and he played like just R last night.
Yeah, he did play
like rookie.
But watch him. Well, they play tomorrow. They play tomorrow or Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay,
yeah, they got 2 days off.
Watch him on Thursday.
Okay. Well, I watched him last night, and I've been watching him all year, and he is turning into a star. You want to talk about a great draft pick? I think that one is starting to really work out, which brings me to Marcus Smart. Did you see last night? Not only is he one of the premier defenders in this league, he had 9 assists last night. With his coming back from his bad.
I mean, he plays tenacious defense.
He does.
One guy, you know, he's just too small for one guy.
I know. No, I got it. And that brings me to Marcus Morris, who's on the floor last night. He had his best year ever. He's 14-5 this year, which is pretty good. And you know who took a lot of their big shots and made a lot of their big clutch shots? Marcus Morris did. Interesting. Oh, and all of a sudden that young coach on the bench is starting to make a case that could he be the best coach in basketball? Is he about to usurp the guy down in San Antonio? I don't know. It's starting to feel like that.
I mean, I think the coach of the year should come down between him and Quinn Snyder.
Okay. All right. And Quinn Snyder worked some miracles, but somebody fell out of heaven into his lap named Donovan Mitchell.
And you look at, but think about how Danny Ainge acquired him, because they moved down a spot. Then they give Philly because didn't Boston have the #1 pick? They moved down
They
so they
did.
can select pros. They get the guy they really wanted
They got
all
the guy.
along, and they got a draft pick.
Okay. So the team that was first in defensive efficiency for the whole year was the Boston Celtics. Interesting. The team who allowed the lowest field goal percent, who held opponents to the lowest field goal percentage, was Philadelphia. So you got two forces,
Right.
two defensive forces. And what happened last night?
Both of them over 100 points.
Okay. So, #1 in three-point defense, three-point shooting defense,
Right.
was the Boston Celtics.
Right.
And last night, the Phillies, 76ers,
5-26.
they shot 19% last night. So maybe that worked. #2 in field goal percentage in defense was Philadelphia. Wait, and the Celtics at home shot 49%. So their defense that was #2 against the 3 got torched last
But
night.
remember, I told you when we were talking about the Cavs,
Yep.
and because they're a three-point shooting team, when you miss those threes, it can get ugly in a hurry. And the reason why the Cavs can't really get back in ball games when they go cold, with the exception of LeBron, they don't really. As Kevin Love was out, they don't have anybody that can go put their back to the basket and get a shot.
Yep.
When it was going haywire, you see what Embiid did? They give the ball to Embiid. He pump fake, one dribble, he to the basket. Or he's on the low block, turn layup, or turn dunk. So,
Or he just turned from the free throw line and just finger roll it in, right?
Is he unbelievable?
He's unbelievable.
I mean,
it's like virtually unstoppable.
He really is.
Even though Aaron Baines is he's 7 feet tall with a big body, you know, and he's
and he
trying.
making threes.
He made 2 threes. That's
I mean, come on, Skip.
You know where he learned that? Spurs. They taught him all that. He knows how to play. He knows how to play.
I mean, yeah, he plays the right way.
Joel goes for 31 and 13, and you get blown out by 16. That's a little scary, I got to tell you. I don't know. This team is well coached. It's the best defensive team. And if it's making 3-point shots,
you know what it is,
you're in trouble, man.
They got enough experience to be good, but they're youthful enough to not know they're not supposed to be playing like this.
Yep.
There's no way you lose 2 All-Stars. Name another team that can lose their 2 best players and be in this position.
Nobody.
No, exactly.
Nobody. And that's a real tribute to Brad Stevens.
Absolutely.
And to just the guts and mental toughness of this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're playing that way, because everyone counted them out. Next up, the Raptors are a 6.5-point favorite in Game 1 tonight against the Cavs. LeBron is coming off a huge 45-point performance against the Pacers in Game 7 on Sunday.